Welcome to Tablenauts. My name is Max, and today I'm going to be tier list ranking every single new to me board game that I played in 2024. That is 91 games if I'm not mistaken, so let's not waste any time and jump right into this. We're going to start with 5211. Now, I do want to preface that all these games I played physically or at least multiple times on something like Tabletop Simulator. I don't think I picked any games that I've only played on BGA. And some of these games I'm going to be able to talk a lot about, others I won't be able to say too much about. 5211 is one of those. We played this physically with myself, Kenny, and Doolin. I think we played it twice in one night. It's, I have very little to say about it because I didn't like it. I didn't like this game. I thought it was random and not fun. Like, I'm fine with randomness in games if it's exciting and adds to the fun. This was a game where I felt like the cards played themselves. I didn't have many choices to make, strategical decisions, and it wasn't raucous, rowdy, and fun either. So I found myself just waiting for this one to be over. I think a lot of other people will have a different experience with this. I know a lot of people like 5211, but for me, it didn't quite work out. Just not one that I enjoyed, and therefore, we're starting off with a D tier game. It's looking rough to begin. The next one is Ancient Realm. This is one of the deck games, wallet games, if you will. It's a solo-only game. It does have an expansion. I've not played with the expansion yet, but this is one of my preferred button-shy games. I do really enjoy this one. I'm not a solo gamer, but this is kind of like what I'm looking for. If I can fit a strategical, thinky game in 15 minutes, and it is a game where you challenge yourself, like, can I get this score, and so on and so forth. Some people are gonna like that, some people are not gonna like that. For me, I think it works just fine. I really enjoyed this one. It's just a good time and strategical, brain-burning enough and quick enough that's kind of what I want out of my solo games. The fact that it is one of those wallet games that takes up no space at all is only an added benefit. I'd still like it even if it weren't. So this is, for me, probably going to go into A tier. Now, when this finishes, I'm going to give myself the grace to adjust as I see fit. But for now, I think we're good with that here in the A tier. Next on the list is Bacon. This is a shedding game. I keep wanting to say Trick Takers, but they're not the exact same, though they're kind of lumped in a similar category. It's a shedding game as you're trying to be the first one to empty your hand, essentially. There's going to be several of those that pop up throughout this list, and this is unfortunately probably one of my least favorites of the bunches. I've played quite a few. I've gotten a bit more into trick-taking games, shedding games, climbing games, so on and so forth this year, and I like Bacon. It is not a bad game by any means. It's just not one that I really love, but it's also one of the ones I've had the least exposure to. I think we've played this one time, liked it, need to get it out again before I really figure out exactly how it's going to go and decide if it's something I want to keep or if I'm going to go to some of the others on this list instead. So for now, we're going to put it in C. I think it could absolutely be B tier, but we're going to start with C for now. Bonanza is a stone cold classic of a card game. Another one that I don't have a lot of experience with. We played this one time, but I like this one quite a lot. It's definitely not like my favorite game in the world. It's not going to be S. It's teetering between B and A in my opinion. But Doolin introduced this to us. It is just a simple, kind of mean, fun, like set collection game. And I really enjoyed this. I would definitely recommend you seek it out if you are interested in those types of games. Didn't blow my mind, but very solid. I'm going to stick it in B for now. I think that's kind of funny. We're all symmetrical so far, but I can tell you that will not last because the next game on our list is Bridge City Poker. This was, I think, published by Portland Game Collective. I mean, I know this one was. I don't think it was a republication. I think this was their own game. Bridge City Poker, it's decent. It's a decent trick-taking game. Another one I have limited exposure with. This is another game we played one time. I believe I sent this home with Kenny afterwards. I liked it. I'm just not a man of a massive collection, so I was happy to send it along to someone else. Definitely would still play this, though. I'm going to put this in C and probably above Bacon, I think. I don't know if I'm going to really tier list all the individual letters, S, A, B, C, D, or if I'm just going to be like, this is S. They're not organized. But at least at the beginning of this video, I'm going to have the aspirations to do that. Not sure if I'll maintain that the whole way through. We have Cafe Barras. This is a game that I played with my wife Danielle and Jamie when we were in Nova Scotia visiting them. And I think it's a nice little tableau building game where you are basically drafting and activating cards that are cute capybaras or meals and drinks and things like that, and it is kind of like a fantasy almost of just like being able to create a menu and decor for your cafe. I do very much enjoy that. Not a game that I absolutely love, but certainly enjoyable. I'm gonna put this probably low B, could be high C, depending on how this tier list shakes out. And if you're like, Max, you're not telling us anything about these games, well, my throat is already dry and I am 6 through. So I apologize for not going incredibly in depth in these. I do hope this provides some value for you, that you can see which ones I've really gravitated towards this year, but I'm not going to spend that much time trying to get it. Now that I'm thinking about it, there might be a game on here that maybe I played it in 2023. I'm not seeing it. We'll see. I don't know if my brain will remember that it's not there or not, but who cares? Next is Circus Flocati. That's another game that I played in Nova Scotia with Jeff, Jamie, and Danielle. I wanted to like this one more than I did. Like I said, I've been really into these obscure kind of weird card games, trick-taking games, so on and so forth, and I did enjoy this one. It's kind of like a push your luck game where you're deciding, to stop and take a card from the middle or continue to draw cards, but if you draw a card that matches in color with a card that's already in that row, you basically pass your turn. I do enjoy this. It's not a bad game by any means. I think it's going to be high C for me right now. I definitely think that I would get more mileage out of this than Bridge City Poker and Bacon, but a lot of that is because it's a little more unique than them, and I definitely gravitate towards those unique games. For something like Bacon, there's just other shedding games I like more. For something like Bridge City Poker, there's other trick-taking games I like more, and that's not to say that you can't have multiples in a category, because trust me, I absolutely will, but I do think Circus Flocati is, you know what, actually, it's going to go above Cafe Barras even. I did have a pretty good time with that one. Next on the list is Compile. This is a game that I think kind of took the world by surprise. I'm struggling to remember. I believe it was Shut Up and Sit Down who covered it. I was able to pick up a copy once again in Nova Scotia, and I really enjoyed this. If you like Air, Land, and Sea, or if you like those lane battler games, I think this is my favorite of the bunch, except for perhaps like Radlands, which they're a little different. This is, I was about to say this is one where you're trying to win 2 of 3 lanes, and I guess in the same vein, so is Radlands, but for some reason they feel different. And for me, Compile is definitely Air, Land, and Sea, but amped up a bit. I prefer Compile. I think the interesting ways you can build your deck, because it's just, the cards are much more unique, much more asymmetric. Instead of Air, Land, and Sea, this is, you build your deck a little more. You can combine like metals, air, and chaos. I'm forgetting the categories right now, but I do really enjoy the customization that Compile offers, and I think that the more you play it, the more cool synergistic decks you'll find. I like Compile a lot. It's probably going to go in B tier right below Bonanza. Let me take a sip of my coffee. It's actually tea, and it's Nova Scotian tea. This is a Nova Scotia video so far. Speaking of, shout out Jeff and Jamie. Obviously, I'm sure many of other people have done this, but I believe they did this video, which is what sparked my interest in also doing it. So I'm sure others have made the same video or similar ones, but they're probably the reason I'm doing this. Next, we have Converge. I think that's what that's saying. It is hard to see. This is another button shy game. I believe Doolin described this as volleyball, which I thought was a really apt description. You are trying to gain this catalyst. I can't recall the proper terminology. And if you have it and win, you win the game. If you don't have it and win, you get it. So you're kind of like getting the ball back and then taking advantage of it and winning with it. I thought this was cool. We only played it one time. It's definitely another one like Compile that I could see you becoming more and more familiar with, because I think there's a bunch of different factions and they all do sort of different things. I like this one quite a bit, but it's not a game I ever really see myself pulling out. Like, I enjoyed it, but there's just a lot of games and competition for this, which, fortunately, that's going to be the case with all these. We're going to add that one to the C tier as well. Speaking of, we have Couture. I didn't mean speaking of because it's a C tier game. I meant speaking of because it starts with C. Now, maybe it'll end up in C tier. I haven't yet decided. But this is a game by All Play Games. You are basically bidding on locations. I believe it's New York, Tokyo, Paris, something like that. And in those locations, whoever gets the highest bid gets to draft out of those locations first. One of the wrinkles about Couture that I like, where a lot of other games wouldn't necessarily have it, is that there are going to be bad cards sometimes. and you're not going to want them, so you're going to want a bit higher. But if I'm remembering correctly, it's been a while, I'm sorry. If I'm remembering correctly, if I bid like 10 and Doolin bid 5 and Kenny didn't bid at all, well, then I get the first card, Doolin gets the second card, and I get the third card too because I had the most still. And so then I'm also drafting a negative card that I didn't actually want. So there's like a bit of strategy there as far as when to actually participate and when to not, when to, hold back and screw someone else. I think it's pretty fun. The art's really cool, components really cool. This is tough. These are like those tough games that I just really don't know where to put. I'm gonna put Couture low B, I think. No, high C. High C, under Converge. Courtesans is a game that was really a surprise for me coming out of Gen Con. I played this several times throughout the course of Gen Con. I haven't played it since. No, that's not true. I think I've played it once since. I really like this game. Like, a big shock to me as to how much I enjoyed this game. I'm not saying it's going to go into S tier. I'm not sure yet, but I really did enjoy this. It reminds me of Biblios, where you are keeping a card, giving a card, placing a card, so on and so forth. But it's a little more to it than that. It's not just trying to get the highest numbers in the areas. I mean, it kind of is. I don't know. I highly recommend you look into Courtesans yourself. It's a cheap game. It's got pretty art. It's even got like one of those, flimsily made, but like one of those fabric rollout things. You're basically trying to like fight for suits, and if you're basically putting a card above or below, and if you put it below, those suits are going to be worth negative. If you put it above, those suits are going to be worth positive. So throughout the course of every game, you're like seeing what your opponents are kind of pushing towards. They want the blue suit to be positive, so you're thinking they're probably holding out a blue suit, and it's just interesting, and most of it is public information, so you can kind of math out what everyone's going to do. But I like it a lot. It can provide some cool examples or some cool tricks where you play things face down, which isn't like a normal thing you're going to do. But yeah, very fun game. Easily, in my opinion, the current leader on this tier list. Next up is Aquatica. This is a game that I was really, really, really amped for. Then we found out that we were playing it wrong 3 or 4 plays in, and like, not just a little wrong, but quite wrong. I attribute that to the text on one of the cards. The Matrona card, to me, reads really poorly. Once you know it, you're like, okay, yeah, I can see that, but that is not how that reads. I'm really shocked that they kind of let that go in the current way that it's written out. But we've played several times. We've introduced neither expansion. I do own the Coral Reefs expansion. I don't have the Cold Waters expansion, and I'm looking to acquire it. It's a game that I want to love more than I do currently. I really like it. It's a good game. It's certainly going in my A tier, but it's not a game that really blew me away like I was hoping it would. It's also an interesting, kind of weird game where the a rise mechanic, where you're basically activating your locations to give benefits elsewhere, are sort of unique and kind of hard to grok if you've never played a game like this, which to my knowledge, there's not a game like this. So I think that the first couple of plays are going to be a little confusing, and trying to teach other people to play it can be a little daunting, but it's worth the effort in my opinion. Aquatica is a very good game. This is the meme game for our group. This is a shedding game. I don't even think this is a physical game. I guess this would be a breaking the rule. I didn't only play it on BGA game, because as far as I'm aware, this game only exists on Board Game Arena. I like crisps. I think everyone else I've taught crisps to hates it. I think Kenny liked it for a while, and then I kept beating him. Okay, he was beating me. I don't mean it like that. I'm sorry, Kenny. But then he decided he didn't like it anymore. I think it's great fun. It's really simple. It's super simple. But it is a shedding game that is just really fast, 2-player only. I've just had nothing but fun with this one, but I've only played it like 8 times because everyone I introduced it to decided they didn't like it. So your mileage may vary. I, on the other hand, do enjoy crisps. It's gonna go middle B tier for me. Middle B tier. Dracula vs. Van Helsing is a game that I picked up at Gen Con. It's a game where you're fighting over, I believe, 5 different locations on the map. One person playing Dracula, one person playing Van Helsing, and you're trying to manipulate the tiles, you can consider them cards if you want, in front of you, that hiddenly control the areas of the board. Your opponent doesn't know what numbers and suits you have there. You don't know what numbers and suits your opponents have there. And you're basically trying to win certain areas throughout the course of the game. You need to, as Van Helsing, you need to, I forget the proper rules, but you need to do something, kill vampires. And as the Dracula, you need to infect humans. And I thought it was interesting. I don't love it. I wish I did. I love the art. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I've only played it twice, though. I think there's probably a lot of room for like learning, figuring out the game, playing better. And that's something that I wish and would enjoy doing more of. But it's not a game I love. For me, currently, I think it's going to go high C tier. There we go. High C tier for me. But then I look at Cafe Bars and I'm like, but I might like it better than Cafe Bars. No, I think I do like Cafe Bars more. I think I do. But yeah, Dracula vs. Van Helsing is a game I wish I enjoyed more and I'd like to play more. Then we have Embers of Memory. This is a Throne of Glass game. My wife's a big reader. She's big into romantic fantasy books. Throne of Glass is one of her favorite series of all time. And so this was, of course, a must pick up when we saw it in the board game shop. I didn't expect much. When we got to playing it, this is a cooperative trick-taking game. No, gosh, it's been a while. I played this earlier in the year of 2024, to clarify. I kind of forgot how it plays. The one thing I do remember is that the rulebook is tough. The rulebook is tough, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just dumb. But the rulebook is very confusing, and it took me a while to really understand how the game works, and I'm still not sure I fully understand how the game works. That being said, I was actually really surprised with the depth of gameplay here. I had a lot of fun once I kind of figured it out. And there's like a lot of chapters to go through that we've barely scratched the surface of. Danielle and I don't often play board games, but if we did more often, I'm sure we'd be able to complete this one. This would be one she'd be asking to pull out again. I was very surprised with how much I enjoyed it. I'm going to give it bottom of B tier. I liked it. I don't know what else to tell you. Next, we have Effortless. This is another game by Isaac Meyer at Barnmade Games. Another one of those coming up in the list. I kind of just want to knock them both out at the same time if I can find it. But I'm not seeing it. Somewhere in here is Expressions. There it is. We're going to pull Expressions up and just knock these both out at the same time. Expressions is currently released. Effortless was on Kickstarter. Different games for sure. Effortless is a tableau, not a tableau, but a set collection game, if you will. You are basically going to, and area control, you're going to one of these locations on the board, sending a energy, I forget the proper terminology, which you have 20 of throughout the course of the whole game. Everyone has 20 turns, basically. And every location is going to give you a benefit or a card, and then also at the end of the game, some sort of thing. It could be in-game scoring, it might not be, it might just be an immediate activation thing you get when you place your energy there. But this one really surprised me. It's got a lot of like modular components too, where you can have, a bunch of different characters, a bunch of different locations, a bunch of different cards and stuff like that, that just kind of all culminate into a pretty fun game. I was really impressed with this. I think this is going to be above Circus Flocati for me. Definitely a B tier game. I enjoyed it. Expressions, on the other hand, is a game that I really like. Your mileage may vary, but this one's sweet. I don't know if Kenny likes it as much as I do. He likes to throw his hat at me. This is right up my alley, though. This is a deduction game. I love deduction. It tickles a part of my brain that I guess just doesn't get tickled that often. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel smart. But I do have a tendency to be a little rude on accident when I'm playing these games. When someone does something, like, why? How could you not have noticed this? And no one wants that, Max. You're being toxic. So I do have to be a little mindful of that playing Expressions. But for me, this is a definite, I'm going to put it below Courtesans. Those are tough. Those are right neck and neck for me. Next is Ada's Dream. Now, I haven't done anything with Alley Cat games in a long time. The reason I played a lot of Ada's Dream is I used to live stream for them on Wednesdays, and I played 4 or 5 games of Ada's Dream, and I was really impressed with it. I like it quite a lot. It is a worker placement game and a resource management game and a tableau building game. Again, it's been a minute, I'm sorry. Some of these games I'm going to remember a lot better than others, but I only played this one on TTS, but I did play it several times. I think this is a really good game you should keep your eye out on. Now, when a physical copy comes out, I would like to play it physically and see if I maintain that feeling, but I found myself The one thing I have, the one negative for Ada's Dream is I did find myself kind of going into the same strategy repeatedly, but I think a lot of that is to be with the fact that I was live streaming and I didn't want to look like an idiot in front of people that I was live streaming for. So instead of trying out new strategies, I tried to hone in on a couple particular strategies that ended up being pretty successful for me. In this game, you're kind of building a machine and your dice can be manipulated and rotated and be worth positive points and multiplicative points and negative points. And those are like the big chunk of your points you get throughout the game. It's also just a really cool, like, historical reimagination, right? And I love those kinds of things. I love the historical reimaginations, and this one's really interesting to me. You've got all these different world famous people that have met at Ada's Palace. I forget what it's called, and they're all building machines, and I just really like that. Art's cool. Big fan of this one, actually, much more than I thought I would. I'm gonna toss this in A tier as well, and maybe my opinion will change when I get the physical copy, but right now I really liked it. I had a lot of fun with that. Then we have Brink, which is another game from IV Studios. This one's not yet released yet. This is their least Brink. It's their least IV game because it's a little more Euro, but at the same time it still has that negotiation. But unlike Moonrakers, where the negotiation is front and center, the negotiation in Brink is much more still front and center. You literally have to negotiate, but it's also just much less brutal. It's much less mean-spirited than something like Moonrakers, I think. I really enjoyed this. It's area control. It allows for these big swingy turns. It's fairly like quick, not as in time, but quick as in number of turns you get kind of game, which makes every turn and every decision you make really impactful. Another one that when it actually fully releases, I'd like to see, because I know there's some balancing changes they made throughout the course of the campaign. We did play this physically, and the production is really nice, even for just a prototype. Yeah, it's going to be the new number one, I think. It's going to be the new number one for now. I was about to say that the website won't let me. But yeah, I think this is going to be the new number one. I enjoy all of these A's right now, but that's the best. Next is El Grande. First time I've ever played El Grande is with this new production. I do really enjoy this one. It's a stone cold classic, and I can see why, having played it. I did play it on BGA a couple of years ago, but like I didn't know what I was doing. And now I do, and I enjoy it. A's already getting clogged. I might have to rethink this. Maybe I'm being too kind or too hard on these. I don't know. But El Grande is going to go... It's going to go right behind... Oh, this is a tough one for me. And I suck at this. I suck at ranking games. Doing this live was a really poor idea. And I'm not live on YouTube right now, but I just mean like figuring it out while the camera's rolling was really dumb of me. El Grande is gonna go... We're gonna put it right above Courtesans. Argent the Consortium. It's a game I've championed for a while now. I don't think I need to speak too much on it. It's a mean, interaction-heavy worker placement game with a sweet theme. It's an S tier for me. Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era is a game we actually just put a video up recently. Go check it out if you are interested at all. It is a new chip theory game that is just delivering to those who have backed it. It is big, it is a lot, and it is also really, really good. This is going to slot in the problem with Elder Scrolls and Too Many Bones and other chip theory games and other big games, not just chip theory, is just the amount of time and commitment they take, which lowers them in my estimation because it's just not something I can consistently see myself playing. So like, as much as I want to say Elder Scrolls is one of the best games I've played this year, it's also, I played it for a month straight. We probably put in 20 hours each for a total of 60 plus hours, and then they played some solo as well. And it's just a game that I think is awesome, but one that I don't know how much more I'll actually play in the foreseeable future. I have no idea if this is a game I'll play at all in 2025. And for that reason alone, I'm going to slot it in below El Grande. Actually, below Courtesans. Let's give Courtesans some love. Because they're like polar opposite games. Courtesans I can play in 20 minutes. Elder Scrolls is going to take me a lot longer. But no, sorry. But it's also just really freaking good. Next on the list is Arcs. This is the Leader Games, Cole Worley newest experience. Kyle Farron art. It is Root in space. I mean, it's not... I'm not saying it's like Root. I'm just trying to give... If you know what Root is, you can have a jumping off point to know what arcs is, but it focuses a lot on the trick taking aspect, where you're trying to use the pips on your card to take actions. You're trying to declare ambitions to win points. It's a very tactical game, which you do not know what's going to happen every single turn. This is, for me, S. Love it. Love this game so far. I'll be interested to see if I maintain that love for it. We haven't yet dived into the campaign. We've barely even played with leaders and lore. I've probably played this game 6 times by now. Like, we have played it. We just haven't really explored all that there is to offer yet. So I'm curious to see if my opinion with that maintains or continues to fall. Next, we have Flip 7. I think this box declares it to be the greatest card game of all time, which isn't true. It's not bad, but it's not the greatest card game of all time. It's good, actually. I mean, it is good, but it's not that good. For me, this is going to fall at the very, very tip top of C, I think. It's a game I'd like to play more. I think I got kind of unlucky, and, you know, it's a quick game, and it's fine. I don't need to win every game, but, like, kind of soured a little bit in comparison to everyone else, because I think this game's getting a lot of hype, and I'm glad it is. But for me, I liked it, didn't love it. I would love to play it more, though. It's quick enough. Like this, I would be happy to play this game again. This is not, I'm crapping on Flip 7 time, not at all. Next, we have Haggis, which is kind of the game that I kept going back to when I was talking about Bacon. I would just rather play Haggis. They're both great, but Haggis is better. It is also better than Crisps. I'm going to slot this into A tier, right there. Caper Europe is a 1v1 game where you are playing cards to different locations, kind of like all the other lane building games like Land versus or Air, Land, and Sea, Compile, so on and so forth. But there's a little more to this one. You don't need to win the locations to win the game technically, because there's other way you can earn your points. I like it. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. I wish I did, though. Keymaster's great. The components are awesome. I know Doolin really loves this game, and I very much enjoy it. It's gonna come in here. We're gonna put it just below Compile. I think that's a fair fit for it. Oof. Next up, we have Fünf Gherkin, or 5 Cucumbers. This is really gonna disappoint Jeffrey. He taught this game to me. He really loves this game. I don't hate it, but I think it is not great. And I'm really glad that they love it and champion it, because I think that's wonderful. You know, they did the same thing with us with Fuji Flush, and we do love that game. Fuji Flush is wonderful. 5 Cucumbers, Fünf Gherkin, not for me. It's got a fun name, Fünf Gherkin. But I just didn't feel like there were many decisions to make in this game. The game kind of makes it for you because it's so strict. I don't remember the exact rules, but it's like, if you can play higher, you must, or something like that. And so I just found myself playing the cards the game dictated I play 80% of the time. Now, that's not to say there aren't decisions to be made, but I did just find that they were few and far between, and, you know, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. Is that the phrase? I don't even know that. I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna put it right there. It's not 5211 bad. I could maybe add on an F tier and put 5211 in there and 5 Cucumbers in D. But we're gonna put it bottom C for now. I don't even know if I can add a new thing. Oh, I can add a row below. Oh, I just added 2. We're gonna delete 1. And we're gonna change this to F. And we're gonna drag 5211 down and 5 Cucumbers down. I think that makes sense. Next we have Habitats. This is another all-play game. You are navigating a car around a board of cards, trying to collect resources and animals to add into your habitat. It's been a while. I like this one quite a bit. We have like these special wooden animals, which I think are hilarious. They're really cool looking, but they're very impractical to actually play with. The check marks that come in the game, much more practical. Instead of saying, can you get me the wombat, please? You're just like, of course I said that because hand-to-hand wombat is the next game. Then it's just like, give me the check mark. Like, you don't have to search through the entire pile of animals to find the right one. It's a good game though. I really enjoy the actual, strategy behind the game. I just think the components thing is quite funny. I'm gonna put this one below, above Crisps, above Crisps. Hand to Hand Wombat is a hilarious game. I don't even know where to put this because we played it one time and I loved it. I had so much fun playing this game. It was hysterical. It's like a hidden role game where basically you're trying to like stack these towers on top of one another, I think. Again, it's been a minute. But one person is trying to mess it up. And I think it's hysterical. Your eyes are closed. You're just reaching into this box and trying to organize these chonky plastic components. I don't know if this would hold up on a second play, but wow, was this such a blast on my first play. I mean, this is easily A tier game. I think it's really great. Will it hold up with additional plays? I don't know, but I think it is very good. Come on. There we go. Jaws. Speaking of very good, this isn't. It's good though. It's fine. It came together at the end. I remember playing this and being like, this game sucks about, halfway through. And then as things got a little, I don't know, maybe the catch-up mechanism or something, but it felt like Doolin the Shark was absolutely demolishing us and we had no hope and there wasn't much strategy. And then I started to piece things together. So with an additional play, this might rise. For now, this is currently going to be just below Dracula Van Helsing for me. Hey, That's My Fish. Really fun game. Actually, super fun game. It's mean. It's simple. It can be played with kids and adults alike. I think this is a great game. Easily gonna slot to like top of B for me. I think Hey, That's My Fish is awesome. This is Fairy. I'm trying to even remember what this game is. I think this is the game, the all play game where you like hold your finger on the scorecard and like slide it up and down and you're trying to guess, if I'm remembering correctly, you're trying to guess if the card you draw is lower, equal to, or higher than the card that was just drawn. Wow, I really don't recall. Maybe that's Rainbow. What is Fairy? I don't remember what Fairy is. Yeah. Okay, I was correct. I was remembering the right one. Yeah, dun, up, down, fist. I don't know. You call the value the suit or the fairy. It's actually kind of interesting. It's not great, but it's not bad either. I think we had quite a bit of fun with this one, just laughing out loud and playing it. It's still low for me, though. I mean, it's one of those games that is like, I don't know that I ever care to play it again, right? Like it's almost like The Mind in that regard. Where I remember we played The Mind for like several hours straight one day. Okay, maybe not several hours, but an hour or two straight. We were kind of like figuring it out. And then we won and we were like, done. Like, I don't ever need to go back to that. And I think Fairy is similar. It's really just a logical deduction game of percentages, basically. You're just guessing percentage-wise, it's more likely to be higher than the last one or something like that, or the same suit as the last one. And that's the game. It's pretty fun, but I don't know how long it would maintain being fun. Then we have Kariba. This is a game, I think, is this a Reiner Knizia game? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Reiner Knizia. Animals shoo each other out the watering hole in a lightning fast card game. I mean, that's apt. That's accurate. The Art School, it's not a bad game. This is what it looks like. It's kind of pretty. I mean, it's more than kind of. It's definitely pretty. It's a pretty game. And basically, as you get three of a kind, they kind of eat everything behind them, like the circle of life, basically. And then the mice scare away the elephants, the 1 to 8. It's pretty cool. It's not a game I love, but yeah, it's a good game I'd be happy to play every now and then. It's going to go to bottom of C tier for me. Then we have Kitten. Do you like cats? Maybe you should get Kitten. I would never pick this over Animals Upon Animal even, or in particular, what's the campfire one? Why am I forgetting what the campfire one is called? It's made by the same company. Wow, apparently I don't even know how to spell this game. Oh, I thought I just typed that same thing. It's by Alley Cat. Kitten is fine. What's the good one? Oh my gosh. Really? In the middle of the video, you're going to make me figure this out? The good one is Tinder Blocks. They're both dexterity-based games. One, you're stacking kittens. Tinderblocks is way more fun. Kitten is fine. Still play it over 5211. May not be F? What am I saying? It may not be F. Maybe 5211 just deserves to live in F tier by itself. We'll leave it there. Naturopolis. It's fine. Sprawlopolis, Naturopolis, they're the same. You're building out nature. I do like the goals in this one where you're like, oh, if we get this certain thing done, we get more points. That was decent. Doesn't mean it's a great game. I mean, a lot of people love this game. I just don't particularly care for it. But it is decent. It's better than Kariba. Last Light. I've only played this game once. Played it with myself, Kenny, Doolin, and Kyle. Had a really good time with it. It's kind of like asynchronous, or not asynchronous, the opposite. Simultaneous play where you are picking a card, playing the card, and activating it all around this kind of board that rotates and moves, and the space moves and everything. Really ingenious. It's kind of claims to be a 4X game in 60 minutes. I do think it's really good, or I do think it's quite good. It's really good at that. If you're looking for a 4X game that can even remotely be played in that amount of time, this is the one to do it. Obviously, because you're playing it in such a short amount of time, it's not going to be anywhere near the level of like complexity and rewardingness that other larger games are going to be, but it is a good time. For me, Last Light is very solid, and we're going to put it right below Compile, I think. I think that's where it's going to go. Next, we have Karuba. Doolin would love this game because it's a Haba game, but it's also actually really good. And it's a game that you can play like with as many people as you have copies, basically, because you can just set up the game equally. Like if I had a copy and Doolin had a copy and Jeff had a copy, we could all play like remotely with just a camera because it's just really easy to follow. This is a great game. You're racing through the jungle basically to to get points, and you get points by being the first people to the treasure chests or also collecting treasure along the way. I really liked Karuba for such a simple game. Like it's almost like, hey, that's my fish level, where it's just like, wow, how is this so good for being so simple? But I think Karuba deserves a little more. I think we're gonna go there with Karuba. I really like it. I think it's a great game. Speaking of games I really like, Bottle Imp. Picked this one up at Gen Con. New production. I guess it's an old game. I've never played it. This was really surprising to me too. It's a game where I struggle to remember the exact specifics. Again, sorry, it's been a while. But you are like trying to not get the imp until you want it. But you don't always want it. It's really good. I really enjoyed this one a lot. It's a trick-taking game, and I wish I could tell you the rules more. It's been a while. Kenny needs to bring it back because I really enjoyed this. We played it. I gave the copy to Kenny because he brought his old copy. I had the shiny new copy. I gave it to him, and then I was like, dang, this is a fun game. I really liked Bottle Imp. Maybe I should have kept it. Bottle Imp was great. Like I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give that high A as well. Is it a game that will... Maybe I'm being too generous here, guys. I might be being too generous. Maybe everything needs to drop a tier. But Bottle Imp's really good. We'll see when we get through this list if I was being too generous or not. Nemalia. It's a game that Doolin taught us incorrectly. We played on BJ afterwards, and I was like, whoa, that's not right. But to be fair, it wasn't that bad. It was barely wrong. You'll notice, well, you won't notice because you don't know what I've played this year. People who have played with me will notice that Get Bit is not on this list. That's because I played Get Bit quite wrong. It would be F tier, like for sure. But I haven't played it since we learned how wrong we were playing it. So I didn't feel that wasn't right. It's not right to Get Bit. It's not right to do that to Get Bit. So that's why it's not here. Nemalia is better than that. It's not F tier, but it's fine. It's kind of along lines of Kariba, where it's just like, it's good, but I just don't have that much desire to play it. I'd maybe put it a little bit higher, though. We're going to put it right below Couture, I think, is where I'm going to put Kariba. River of Gold. Played this one time, and I believe there's other modular stuff we didn't add in that I think a lot of people claim makes the game better, so I'd be happy to try that one at some point in time with the extra stuff. But I did enjoy this one quite a bit. I'm going to slot this one low A. We're going to go above Hand to Hand Wombat, I think, for now. Message from the Stars. You're kind of like, it's like Arrival. It's Arrival in board game form, where you're trying to like communicate different language with the other players. It's a word-based deduction game where you're like cooperating with your fellow scientists and then the aliens on the other side trying to get you to guess the right letters. This is pretty cool. It's like a kind of decoding-ish. I don't love it, but it's good. I'm gonna slot this one right before. No, I'm gonna slot this one right before Circus Flocati. I think again, I don't really even know that these are tiered, but for now they are. Knitting Circle. I love Calico. Calico Knitting Circle, which I don't know if we played the prototype or if it was a fully fleshed out game. I don't know if there will be any changes before it is released to the public or not, but I thought it was good. It's really cute. It's really knitty, which will appeal to a lot of people. My mom would love it. Of course, Danielle loves the cats aspect, but I didn't find that it just there wasn't a lot for me to think about in this game. It felt like, and maybe I was just getting really lucky with the cards I was drawing and things just like the stars aligned and it worked out well for me, but I just didn't feel like I had much tension in the game where I was like, oh, what do I need to do here? It was kind of pretty self-explanatory the whole time. Like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this because that's the only logical thing I can do. And it's the only thing that's going to give me points. It was cute, fun, fairly quick. So like not a bad game by any means, but I did not love it. We're going to put it just below Dracula vs. Van Helsing. Dice Town, another game that I like this more than 5 Cucumbers, to clarify, but I think Jeff and Jamie really championed this game, and I would love to play it again, and I'd love to play it with Doolin and Kenny, but I did not love it the way they do yet. I'm hoping that maybe in future plays I will, but it's good. It's good. It's fun. It's raucous. It's rowdy, but sometimes there's just not much you can do. You get off to a bad start. It's rough to get back into it. But I mean, I enjoyed it very much. I think there are a lot of little cool cards that give you like one-time active abilities that can kind of change things up. You can steal things from people. It's enjoyable for sure. I just am not nearly as much of a champion on it as they are. And in that case, for me, it is going to go to top of C, I think. I do think I liked it better than Flip 7, Dracula vs. Van Helsing, any of those, but not quite that high for me. Speaking of high, though, we have Rebel Princess, which I think is just delightful. One of my favorite trick-taking games of recent memory. I've played it a ton. I've talked about it a ton. It's going to come up here and probably... the game, the website doesn't want me to put it above Brink, but it might be above Brink. It's tough to say with Brink. It's literally a prototype, right? It's hard to say. I think you should take all of this with a grain of salt, but especially the ones that are prototypes or the games that I just only played one time, because a lot of things can change. For now, we'll put it there. Panda Panda, I played this one several times. Another all-play game we got at Gen Con. Definitely prefer it over the likes of Fairy, but it is, it's not great. I like it, but it's not great. I'm struggling to even remember what it is. I think it's kind of like you're trying to get certain sets. Like there's a card, like a rule card that'll tell you which things will win the game. And I don't have it in front of me, so I cannot even begin to tell you what stuff does what. But you're basically trying to set collect, and at the same time, you sometimes have to pass cards to your left. You're sometimes drawing from the top or drawing from the discard pile. Panda Panda is enjoyable for sure. It's going to go above Naturopolis, below Bacon for me, I believe. Then we have Nar, a game I'm kind of disappointed in. A lot of people really love Nar. I think it's good. I don't hate it. It is a good game. I just kind of really wanted to love it, and I didn't love it. I do think it's enjoyable, though. You're basically just trying to score the most points and do that in a variety of different ways. It's got really good art, decent components. It's fairly cheap, and it's quick to play, which are all like positives that add to it. Just for some reason or another, I didn't connect with it the way I wanted to. So I think it's still a B. I enjoyed this game for sure. I think I'm going to give it probably right above Message from the Stars, and I'm realizing I'm going to pull Message from the Stars down to the bottom of B tier. I'm looking at the things below it. I think I prefer them over Message from the Stars, and I think that's a good place for Nar to go right now. Maybe one up. People are going to hate on Crisps so much. It's not even a game, Max. Mythwind is one I really struggle to rate because we've only played it one time. I'm not 1,000% sure we played it 100% correctly. I think Doolin went and played some more solo and kind of figured some things out. I was very disappointed in Mythwind. I love the art. I love the theme. It is gorgeous, like this fantasy Stardew Valley. I just didn't care for the gameplay. And I think that Doolin specifically said that, like, I believe it's kind of campaign-esque and like you can get better and do more stuff. And I think that with that, maybe I would enjoy it a lot more. But I also don't love to dedicate time to things like that where I don't know if I'm going to enjoy them. Mythwind is one of the bigger disappointments for me. It's not one of the worst games of the year, but it is just one that I was like, man, I really wanted to love that, and I really just didn't. I think it's going to go bottom of C tier for me just because it is like such a longer experience too. A lot of these games in C tier, like almost the entire C tier, are these small games, which makes them more forgiving. Something like Mythwind, I didn't particularly care for that much, and it's not small. So the amount of time commitment that you have to play something that you don't particularly care for is a lot more than something like Kariba, Naturopolis, Panda Panda, something like that. So it's got to go there, I think. It's got to go there for me. Mori, only played it one time. Another all-play game. A lot of all-play games. This is a trick-taking, a pretty different trick-taking game. I don't remember a ton about it. I do remember liking it, but it's another one that I didn't love. I think this is going to go above Panda Panda, below Bacon. Seaside, real big surprise for me. I think this is a great game. You're basically just drawing a tile out, deciding which tile to use, and then that may go in your tableau. It may cause something to flip. It may allow you to grab things from the center of the table. And at the end of the game, you literally just take all the nice, cute wooden tokens you've collected and build a stack and just compare sizes. Like, yeah. And then whoever has the largest stack wins the game. It's super easy. It's super fun. It's like this beautiful drawstring bag with nice chonky wooden tiles. It really does feel like a game, like a beach house game. Big fan of Seaside. I'm going to put it not there. I'm going to put Seaside. We're going to go there. I mean, we're going to go pretty high with Seaside. I do think that maybe A tier is a bit... maybe A needs to be split, and some of these, like, these need to drop to F, these need to drop to D, these need to drop to C, I don't know. I'm not sure. There's too many good games. Splitto, I think is how you pronounce that game. Splitto. It's fine. It's a fine game where you're kind of like working with and against your opponents. So the people to your left and the people to your right kind of need to get certain things, and you need to, not exceed this amount. There's like gold cards you get, and it's interesting. I like it. I don't love it. It's going to fall about the same area. I think I'd prefer it to Panda Panda and Mori, but not to Bacon. I think that's where it's going to go. Pollen. Pollen's cool. Another game that I like, don't love. It's an interesting little, like, your tile placement game, and when you place a tile, you kind of like are able to collect points off of what's around it based off how you've placed it and so on and so forth. As you can tell, it's been a while since I played this one. I do remember enjoying Pollen though. Again, not a wonderful game, not a game I absolutely loved, but I think we're gonna put this one below Flip 7, above Flip 7, below Dice Town. I think is where Pollen is gonna lie. Epochs, another prototype game. This was from Ice Makes, who's the creator of Terrascape. Really surprised me. This is one of those games that, we loved Terrascape. So when Ice Makes asked if we wanted to cover this one, it was kind of like a, yeah, because we love Terrascape. Like, to me, Epochs didn't look that cool. It's like this civilization game where you're playing these different ages and you're kind of leveling up from like bare bones society, hammers and spades and axes, or not even axes, stones, up to like jet fighters and stuff like that. And I just wasn't sure how into it I would be, but I really like Epochs. It's a big game, talking 3 hours-ish. It's a lot, but it's really fun. There's area control, there's fighting, there's like resource management, there's goals you can achieve. I was big impressed with Epochs, and for that reason alone, it's probably gonna go, I think that's a fitting spot for it. These right here, these like 4 games right here, I think Karuba and Seaside deserve it. Expressions Haggis and Bottle Imp might need to slide down. I don't know why I'm having those reservations now, but like the more I think that is perhaps more along the lines. Dungeon Date. I picked this up at a board game store, Lancelot Games, I believe is where I bought this in Nova Scotia. And this was mostly for Danielle. Again, she's big into romantic fantasy stuff. Thought it sounded fun. It's pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Another one of those kind of like C-level games where like it's good fun. I don't know how much I'll play it, but I did enjoy it. I think it's going to go right below Dracula vs. Van Helsing for me. Then we have Revolver Noir, another wallet game. This one is like a 1v1, kind of think like GoldenEye 007 on the N64, kinda, where it's like 1v1, you're trying to guess where other people are, and you have a silver gun where 2 shots kill, and each time you like shoot, you reveal your location, but you can shoot and then move, and then your opponent has to predict where you are, and you're just playing cards from your hand that are like, oh, I'm gonna shoot in this location, and then I'm gonna do this and move out of it, and it's just interesting. Nice little deduction 1v1, pretty simple, but I did enjoy it quite a bit. This is gonna go into B tier for sure. We're gonna put it below Revolver Noir, I think. And yeah, I'm comfortable with where those are right now. Tend, love it. Love this game. It's not for everybody. It's very much a roll and write. This is the next game by Ivy Studios. It is a verb and write. There's a lot to do with this game, but it's really, really good in my opinion. I know not everyone is going to agree with me, but man, I had a blast with it. I think it's going to go there for me. Brink and Tend are kind of like neck and neck fighting for my favorite Ivy Studios game right now, or favorite new one. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. Moonrakers, I think, is my number 1 right now. But these are neck and neck for the recent releases. Ugh. Like, I'd rather play Tend than Elder Scrolls just because of how quick it is. I don't know. This is such a tough one. We're going to keep it how I had it. We're going to keep it how I had it. Super Mega Lucky Box is basically, you're playing like a bingo. Kinda. It's been a while. Actually, this shouldn't be on the list because I've only played it on Board Game Arena. But since it's here, we'll do it. I've only played it a couple of times. I do think it's middling. It's middling. We're going to put it right there. We're going to put it right there. Fromage. Really like this game. I've played it a couple of times on Board Game Arena and once with Jeff and Jamie. It's not going in B tier. Don't worry. It is going in A tier. I did really enjoy this. We're going to slot it right below right below Expressions for now. Those are tough. Expressions of Fromage are tough. We're going to put it right there for now. I didn't, you know what? No, still fighting with myself. I like this one a lot more than I thought I would. Sears Catalog, another trick-taking games. I believe this is by Taylor Reiner. Is that his name? He is Taylor's Trick-Taking Table, the board game, the YouTube channel. And this was called Of What's Left, which is what I kind of wish it still was. The theme, the art for that game looks really, really cool. I would have preferred that. That said, I was disappointed in this theme and then played the game and I was like, oh, that is pretty cool. So there's a little more to it. The theme works better than I thought it would. I like Sears Catalog quite a bit. I'm realizing I gotta speed up. I don't know how long I've been recording, but this is taking me too long. I gotta speed this thing up. We're gonna put this, we're gonna put this, you know what? We're gonna rearrange real quick. We're gonna pause and rearrange. River of Gold's gotta drop down to B. It's gotta drop down to B. It's good, it's not that good. I mean, same with Wombat, right? Like, come on. I think these are okay. Ada's Dream, it's good. Ancient Realm, we're gonna drop that down to high B too. Sears Catalog, bottom of A, right above Aquatica, maybe. We're gonna pull that below Ada's Dream. I kind of just want to pull these together because they are the lighter fare, right? Like, it almost just makes more sense for me to have them next to each other because they're a little more similar. Well, we're gonna keep it that way for now. You know what? We're still gonna keep it like that. You know what? We're gonna do this. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna lock it and load it there. Skyrise. I like it. I don't love it as much as a lot of people do. I think it is good. It is good. It's going to go high B tier for me. I think we're going to put it right below Hey, That's My Fish. I think we're going to move Hey, That's My Fish up, though. I do still think it's pretty wonderful. And I think we're going to move Compile up a couple as well. And I think B tier is looking good for me right now. But Skyrise is cool. It is cool. It's like a bidding area control game. I like it quite a bit. Rainbow, it's another all-play game. I think we played all of those in one day, and I'm just struggling to remember which ones. Oh, this is the one where I can't even explain it. It's another trick-taking game. You're playing cards to win the trick, and then you get the cards in the center of the table, and then the cards that were played become the new scoring cards, and pairs pair up. So like 2 3s is worth more than 1 4 because that's 6 points instead of 4. It's interesting. I like that one a decent bit, but it's nothing special. It's good though. We're gonna give this one. We're gonna put it right below Converge. I think I'm happy with that one. I feel like these just all need to go to bed. I kind of like Bacon better than Rainbow, I think, but they're so close. You know what? Is Bacon also all play? I have no idea who Bacon is. I think it is also all play. I think I'm going to give the edge to Bacon. Spectral, this is a game that Kenny bought at Gen Con. It's like a deduction game, which I normally love, and I did like this, but I didn't love it. I know that's my catchphrase. It is good, though. It is good. The components are interesting. The deduction is fun. I'm going to put this low B tier, though. Right above Message from the Stars, I think, is where I'm going to put this. Wonder Tales, another wallet game, button shy game. Super fun. I love the art. I love the characters. I love the kind of just vying for points in this game is very interesting. And you can kind of like take points away from people and kind of screw people over based off placement. You can also be really smart with your placement to like stop that all from happening, because it's kind of like Seven Wonders-esque, Seven Wonders Duel, where each round has like a shape that needs to be built. So it's not like this, but let's say it is like the pyramid, like Seven Wonders Duel. If I like went to the top, then nothing can go next to that one because it's the top of the pyramid. I don't know. You'll see what I mean when you play it. But Wonder Tales is good. I like that one quite a bit. It's gonna go right above Habitats. Fiction. I think this is like Wordle with a hidden traitor. I think it could be great. I do not think it's good at 4. I played this at 4. I did not like it. It basically just felt like a 1v1 game where the other person was just sitting there. It's just not a game I felt like was meant for 2 people to work together on. Maybe we played it wrong. Your mileage may vary. For me, this is like a D tier at 4. At 2, maybe it's great. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Theme is cool. Love the movie. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the greatest slashers. The game is fine. It just doesn't do anything super special. But it is a fun kind of cooperative game where you are scared of Leatherface. I do think it's enjoyable. I just don't particularly love it. We're gonna put that right below Rainbow. We're gonna drop Namalia down too, though. Yeah, it's looking better. Sniper Elite. Only played it twice. I really like Sniper Elite. I'm not gonna put it in S tier. I've not played it enough yet, but this is one of those games where I've only played as a sniper too. So like I can't say if that experience would translate to when I play as the actual like Nazis, I guess they're Nazis, to try and find the sniper. But for me, it's super fun because you can be incredibly aggressive. You get caught fairly early because you're able to, the Nazis are able to narrow down where you are quite quickly, but then you just have to play out of it. And I found that so fun, just like sniping my way out of a hole was super enjoyable. Kenny absolutely destroyed me the second time we played it. Took a random shot in the dark, shot me right in the heart. It broke my heart too. This one is great though. If the plays continue to live up to my expectations, this will rise even more. But as it stands, it's still really good. Like I'm gonna put it high. I love hidden movement though. I love hidden movement. Next on the list is Schadenfreude. This is another trick-taking game. Pretty unique in that I believe you played a 40 and you want to be the highest person. You want to have the highest score of anybody who didn't hit 40. Because when you hit 40, the game ends. And if you hit 40 or higher, you are not eligible to win. It's whoever's next in line. And you can kind of manipulate the points that you score. You can get rid of points in your hands for trying to drop down. It's a game that I think requires multiple plays to really kind of see. But I enjoy this one a lot. It's up there for me. I like it more than Haggis, I think. But Man, I don't know. My A tier might just be too generous. Like looking at Elder Scrolls and Bottle Imp in the same tier just doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't seem right. But I do think Schadenfreude is great. I'm gonna put it above Haggis, I think. Yeah, we're gonna put it above Haggis. Freelancers. I know a lot of people love these games. They're the storytelling games, choose your own adventure kind of. I like both this and Forgotten Waters, but they're not games I love. They're long, and it's kind of like playing D&D without a DM, and in that regard, it's also just not as good, right? It's fun. The story's good. The decisions are fun, but it's just not awesome. Some people though love it. I think I played this with me, Jash, and Doolin. Both of them were like 10 out of 10. Loved this game. And for me, I'm like, yeah, it was good. I had a good time with that game. But it's gonna go like we're gonna put it right above Revolver Noir, I think, is where we're gonna slot that in. You know what? See, if I'm thinking like B is an 8, half of these are 7s, right? Maybe I gotta rethink my tiers. Star Wars Unlimited. A lot of people would put this number 1. It's good. I like Star Wars Unlimited. I'm not, again, nearly as into it as Kenny and Doolin. I am not a big TCG guy, so it's just like I enjoy it. I like repping packs. I like playing games, but it's always a game that I will play because someone else wants to play it. Like when they come over, I'll never be like, let's play Star Wars Unlimited. If they're like, do you want to play Star Wars Unlimited? I'm like, sure, it's fun. Let's do it. But I'm never the eager person to pull it out. Like I'm happy to let other people ask to play it and I will gladly do so. But it's just not a game that I'm itching to get out myself. We're going to put that in mid B. See, this is kind of where I think mid B should cut off. I feel like almost everything below Star Wars Unlimited should drop to C because I don't know. Gnome Hollow. That's going to be another B game for me. It's good. It's good, not great. I do enjoy it quite a lot. Gives you that Carcassonne-esque feeling where you're like building routes, completing them. It's strategically satisfying when you're deciding when and which gnome to kind of pull off its route to activate its action. It's good. And I think a lot of people are really going to like this as a really nice midweight game with beautiful components and a fun theme. Gnome Hollow, for me, probably, it's like right around that same level, I think. Like, I'd rather play Caper. It's kind of right around the same level. We're going to put it above Crisps, I think. We'll put it below SWU. We'll put it below SWU and NAR. Next, we have Harvest. I've only played this once. I wish I've played it more by this point in time, but I like it quite a bit. We're going to put it in a mid-high B. I think I'm going to put it right above Last Light. I think I'm going to put Bonanza above Skyrise, though. And I think I'm going to put Harvest above Skyrise, too. It's really interesting. Beautiful art. It's Keymaster. They always do that lovely art. But it is kind of like, it's much more brutal than you think. Your resources are quite thin in this game, at least in my experience, where you've got to do a lot and you don't have the resources to do so. But really cool in a game I wish I'd been explored more by this point in time. I think it's on Board Game Arena, though, so perhaps I should go there. Mindspace. Only played this one once, but I liked it quite a bit. You're kind of Tetrising, placing these like or different colored and shaped pieces in your board and just scoring based off the goals you've been given. I like this one a good bit. It's going to be C tier for me, but I do enjoy it. We're going to drop it right there above Flip 7. Through the Desert, not quite going to jump to the highs of El Grande. I think El Grande is better than Through the Desert, but I did very much enjoy this. We're going to give it low A. Again, might end up moving around a lot of A's, but I like Through the Desert quite a bit. Zubal, it's fine. Why would I play that over Crokinole, like, ever? You know, yeah. It's fine. That's Not a Hat. Another game I wish I could play more. I've only played it once, so I think this is a game that would rise exponentially. I'm going to put it in a spot that a lot of people are going to be like, wow, that is egregious, Max. You're an idiot. And perhaps so, but I've only played it once. I think with more plays, this has potential to become just an all-timer party game. But for me, so far, we're going to put it low B, above Circus Flocati. Yeah, see, this is, yeah, we gotta change some things around. Circus Flocati is fun. It is not a B game. It is a C game. I'm sorry. Okay, Circus Flicati, let's just do that. Why have I not done that this whole time? Circus Flicati is a C game. Message from the Stars. We're taking a moment to rearrange. Is gonna drop right there. Spectral is gonna also drop right there below Dicetown. Embers of Memory, I think that can all stay. It might drop. I could see like several of these still dropping to C, but I'm more comfortable with it now than I was. Harrow County, another game. I desperately wish I could play more than I have already. I've played this game one time, and during that game I was like, what the fluff am I doing? I don't know what's happening. And then when that game ended, I just couldn't stop thinking about it. I was like, man, I desperately need to play that game again. And for that reason alone, it's gonna slot into A tier at the very least. I just really want to play it more. I haven't had the opportunity to do so yet, but I tried. I don't think I actually nominated it. I came so close to nominating this for our 10x10 because I really do think it is just a blast. Manhattan Project Energy Empire is going to also slot into A. Very good game. It's a worker placement game where you are just comboing things galore. You're flush with choices, and I just have a ton of fun playing Manhattan Project Energy Empire. World Wonders, it's decent. It's no Wild Tiled West, that's for sure. I've made it very clear in past how much I like Wild Tiled West and that it is my preferred tile placement game of those 3 polyomino tile placement games we got at the same time. We got Planet Unknown, World Wonders, and Wild Tiled West all around the same area. Wild Tiled West is definitely my preferred of the 3. I will say I've only played it once. I need to play it more. With one play, that's where it's going to land. Joyride, another game I've only played once, but that I really liked. I liked Joyride a lot, so much so that it dethroned Heat. Even after one play. Now, again, things can fluctuate, things can change, but after one play, I was like, I'd just rather play this than Heat. And I've never played Thunder Road Vendetta, so I can't speak to that. Joyride's gonna go above Expressions, which we're also gonna drop down to just below Schadenfreude, actually. And we're gonna drop Epochs down strictly for the fact that it is a prototype, and I just feel bad having prototypes higher because, who knows what's changed, right? Who knows what's changed with Epochs. Pax Pinning, wow. Speaking of a game that could literally be D or S, because I've only played this one time, and it was a learning game, not only for me, but for the teacher. Sam at Lord of the Board taught us this game at Gen Con. We had a lovely time playing it, but this game's freaking crazy. It's wild. And every turn, he was like, oh, that's how that works. It's like we were learning on the fly. Wild game. I'm going to give it a B just because of how ambitious it is after the first play, and I did enjoy it, but I have no idea where this would fall with multiple plays. Not a clue. It could be PAX Pamir-esque, where I just love the intrigue it brings. It's so volatile and weird, or it could just be wow, that just doesn't work for me. It just really doesn't. But I will never know. I mean, hopefully not will never. At the time of recording this video, I have no idea. Once I play it more, I'm hoping to know more about that. Trailblazers. It's along the same lines as, where is it? Naturopolis for me. Those games are good. I just don't love them. They're good and entertaining, but that whole route building, can you work your way around, figure out how to get back to a certain area, it's just not something that I crave. And for that alone, we're gonna put it C. It is good. It's definitely not a bad game. It's worthy of your time, but I'm gonna put it there. I think it's a good spot for it. Soulforge Fusion, I played this one at their booth at Gen Con. I was pretty impressed. Now, I'm not gonna go out and buy it. I'm not super eager to get this to the table. I think that the art is dated. Well, it's not bad. It's not bad by any means, but a lot of the art and components in this game are just a little dated. You can tell it's a bit older of a game. I don't know if this one in particular, Soulforge Fusion is, but Soulforge, just the IP in general, I guess. But I did enjoy what it has to offer, and the cards you play become better as you play them, because when you play them, they go into a discard pile that you're gonna then upgrade before the next turn and get them back in your hand. I thought that was really interesting and allowed for you to kind of customize your deck as the game went on. I enjoyed it quite a bit. We're gonna put it high C. We're gonna put it just below Circus Flow. We're just below Dicetown. Dicetown's just more raucous and fun. Overboss Duel, only played it once, didn't care for it. I like Overboss. I'm not sure what about Duel didn't work for me. I would definitely play it again. It's not a game I hated by any means, but I did not care for it. It's going to go above Mythwind. Skulls of Sedlic, love it. One of my favorite, I mean, okay, calm down, Max. Really like it. It's one of my favorite button shy games, probably my favorite button shy game. And for that reason alone, we're going to put it like bottom of A. It's just hard for me to get incredibly amped about a button shy game because there's just 18 cards, right? It's hard to get like, wow, this game is amazing. I love this game, 10 out of 10. It's so good. It's the best. Because there's only 18 cards, right? It's just really hard to compete with other games that have a lot more going on. That said, it is one of my favorites of that formula. I'm already talking myself down to a B though. I don't know. I really like Skulls of Sedlic, but I think an 8 is kind of where I do land. Though I'm looking at these, a lot of these are probably 8s. My B tier is gonna have to be Arrange. My B tier is gonna be pretty heavy. But we'll get to that in just a minute. We're getting close. We're nearing the end. We've got 8 games left. The Estates. Another game, kind of like Pax Pinning, where I could see this being S or D. Okay, C. It would never be below C, I don't think. I really enjoyed this, but we've only played it once, and it took me half the play to understand it. I don't think it's that complex of a game, but we kind of just dove in. And this is a game where your mistakes are punished. And I made some early mistakes, and I was like, oh, now I understand how this game works. I want to run it back immediately. And unfortunately, we were not able to do so. For that reason alone, I think I'm just going to put it, again, kind of middle of B tier because I think I would like it more than High Rise, though, for sure. Or Skyrise, I'm sorry. We're going to put it there. Again, Pax Penning's freaking cool. We're going to put it there. It could move. It could go to S. It could go to C. I have no idea. Wild Gardens. This is by Rose Gauntlet Games. I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. We're going to put this high B, I think. You're kind of like going on a route around these gardens and collecting different resources, but also trying to actually like fulfill these different cards in the market. You need to like build this or craft this food that you can give to this customer who's gonna love everything. And Wild Gardens is really cool. It's there's a lot more to it than I thought there would be, and the art is really, really, really charming. So I'm gonna put this. We're gonna put it just above Last Light, I think. Just above Skyrise, I think. Skyrise just needs to drop down a little bit. I like it. I don't love it the way other people do. It is good, though. Trick Takers. I mean, if you've been listening to me at all lately, this is an S tier game. Friggin' love Trick Takers. It's awesome. It's quick. It's trick-takey. It's got incredible art and components. Wildly asymmetric characters, and you're drafting the characters once you see your hand before the round even begins. Wildly unique win conditions. For example, I forget who I played as, and one of my win conditions was only win one trick, which clarify there's 5 tricks in a round, and there are no red, green, or blue cards in it. So you could only win with black cards, rare cards, and the white flag cards. Or some other cards like with the bull, can't remember his name. One of the other characters. Don't worry about that. And I was able to pull off that victory, and it's just so immensely satisfying when you're able to get these little like insta-win abilities, which are pretty few and far between, but are really interesting and cool. If you can win all 5 tricks with the king, you instantly win the game. And it's just like you play the cards, you also play the characters, and you play the opponents. Like you have to be mindful of what the opponents can do and what they want. If someone drafts the king, they want to win as many tricks as they can. If I draft the Rebellion, who only really cares about 1, and someone else drafts the Gambler and gambles 0, like we might be in trouble. That king's gonna win a lot of tricks and get a lot of points because of it. I love Trick Takers. It's one of my favorites this year for sure. Yinch is an abstract game that I really enjoyed. I only played it one time, but I enjoy those types of games. It just works with my brain. And this one has like really nice components of these plastic discs, these plastic circles. You're just kind of like jumping things, trying to connect lines. It's been a while since I played it. And I think the first 3, 4, 5, I don't remember, but I like this a lot. It's gonna go low B. Probably right. Low B becomes high B, which is maybe why B needs to be adjusted. We're going to put it there. Veil of Eternity shouldn't be on this list. I've only played it on Board Game Arena. Wasn't thinking properly. I do enjoy it though. I'm gonna give it high C. I don't have a lot to say about Veil of Eternity. I'd like to play it more. Trick and Snipers. Big fan of Trick and Snipers. It's a card game that's over in 5 minutes. You need to get 2 points. The only way you get points is by winning tricks with 7s in them in what's called a legendary battle, or Snipe 13, where you play an offsuit card that, when combined with the value of the leading winning card, equals 13. For example, if you play a 10 of red and Doolin plays a 8 of red, because that's all he had, because it's a must follow, to clarify, and then I don't have a red and I play a 3 of blue, and then someone else plays a 9 of red, unable to take the winning trick away, my 10 or my 3 combined with someone else's 10 of a different suit equal 13, Snipe 13, I win a point. If the last person played an 11 and actually won the trick over the 10, they would win the trick because 11 plus 3 does not equal 13, so therefore it goes to the winner of the trick. Very, very unique and interesting trick-taking game. It's A tier for me for sure. I really enjoy Trick and Snipers, in part because it's so quick. I think I saw Jeff and Jamie talk about this game on their list as well, and Jamie mentioned it being too quick, and it is very fast. Yeah, like this, you need to be okay with that. For me, that's a benefit because it's just like one you could play repeatedly in a group setting with a bunch of different people. I think it's great fun, but it is not anything like super meaty or anything like that. If you're wanting that, look at Trick Takers, which I think is the better game, but Trick and Snipers is great. It's made by the same person that made Nana, I think. And you can tell, they look great. Marvel Zombies. Tough to rate this one. Early in the year we played this. We played it one time. We played the tutorial. I've yet to play it since then. Tutorial alone, it's going to get at least a high C just because, wow, the game looks incredible. The minis are awesome. The combat is fun. I really like the feasting mechanism. I don't know if that's the proper word for it, but where you like have to take a moment to use a crappy action to eat something because you're a zombie. And so you need to take a break of the big, cool, fighty things to feast and regain your stuff. So it's gonna go to B at the very least. We're gonna put it above Star Wars Unlimited, above Crisps, above Habitats. Wow. Yeah, I think it's a good spot for it. And then we have the Gang for our final game. We have the Gang, which is a cooperative trick-taking poker game where you are trying to decide cooperatively who has not even the best. You're trying to order yourselves by quality of hand. So throughout the first round, you're like grabbing, if I draw a pair of aces, I'm gonna grab the 5 and be like, I'm confident I have the best hand so far. But then, maybe 3 queens get laid out. And then I'm like, okay, well, I don't have a queen. If anyone else has a queen, they now have 4 of a kind. So I'm probably not 5 anymore. But then I'll be like, guys, maybe I'm 4, maybe I'm 3. But then if no one has a queen, well, then I have a full house still, which I guess my full house is better than 4 of a kind, isn't it? Actually, I don't know. I wish I had the Gang in front of me to look at the card. I'm not good enough at poker to know exactly which one is the best. So maybe that example doesn't work. But you're trying to organize cooperatively the order of best quality hand, and if you succeed, you get a little success and you're unlocking the vault, and if you get a failure, I don't know what that's called, and then you can add in these cards that make it harder and easier as the game progresses, but basically you want to get 3 successes before you get 3 failures is the name of the game. I enjoy it quite a bit. Definitely one that's probably more fun with people that do know poker, just because it's poker. It's very easy. It's one of those, it's like Balatro, which is a game that came out this year, a mobile game, or it was on Steam or whatever, which is like a roguelike game where it's built off the basic foundation of poker. And so it already has a direct line of appeal to so many people that something like, Hades or Cult of the Lamb or whatever wouldn't, because so many people know how to play poker. So you're already appealing to some base interest, and they already know the basic way to play. And so it just allows them to play easier. And I think the Gang is something that does that quite well. It's one that you could definitely introduce to people that don't play board games, as long as they kind of understand how to work together and poker. I'm gonna put this one in B tier. It's gonna be low A, high B for me. I think it's gonna go just under River of Gold. Is where I'm sitting right now. So That's our list. But I'm not done talking. I gotta look and see if there's anything I need to reorganize. Okay. Wow. What you just saw was me coming to the realization that the screen recording stopped. So I can't reproduce that for you, but the good thing is it made it all the way to the gang, which was the final game we talked about. It did not catch any of the rearranging after the fact, but thankfully it caught the gang. So what I've done is just screenshotted that, and then I'll put that where I'm talking about things, and you just won't see the movement, but it'll be okay. I had almost broke my heart there as I realized that wasn't recording, so that's at least it made it that far. Sorry you didn't get the movement of me rearranging things, but you'll still have the discussion. Okay, wow. There are a few things that immediately jump out to me, which is the lack of games in S tier. I think that I could be talked into a lot of these games in A tier into moving up to S tier, which is to say Rebel Princess, Elder Scrolls, Harrow County, Joyride. But again, like those games I've only played so little of. It's hard for me to just want to immediately champion a game when I've only played it one time. Whereas Arcs I've played 6 or so times, Trick Takers I've played 5 or 6 times, Argent I've played 4 or 5 times. So like these games that I've had these repeated plays with that make me feel more confident in being like these are the best of the best that I've played this year. So whereas like Sniper Elite, if my 2 plays that I've played are indicative of the rest of the plays I'm going to have with this game, that's an S tier game for sure. But I've only played the Sniper, so I feel like I've only played half the game. I can't confidently say, wow, that game was one of the best because I've only experienced half of what it has to offer. El Grande I've played once. Elder Scrolls is just so big. Courtesans could probably drop a little just because I am so much more excited about the prospect of Harrow County and Tend. Tend I've played a lot, pretty confident with where it is. High A is a great spot for it to be. Harrow County is one that could easily be S, could be low B. I don't really foresee it dropping that far. I think the source material is really cool. The art's wonderful. I love the asymmetry. But again, just a game I haven't played enough to really champion. I do think Karuba and Seaside are perhaps a bit too high. Not a ton too high, but I think I just want to drop them just below Schadenfreude. And then perhaps, Trick and Snipers and Schadenfreude should probably be a little closer too. So that's tough. I do think those are both preferred over Haggis and Bottleimp and Sears Catalog, which are the other kind of games in that category. Schadenfreude, I think, has like the most potential, but maybe not the. I don't know. I'm pretty good where that is. I'm going to bring that below Seaside and Karuba, just barely. I think I'm pretty confident with A tier, but I'm going to drop Aquatica to high B. I do think it's great, but I'm thinking if A is a 9, it's not quite there. Like 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. All these I'm good with being a 9 for now. Then you get to this area, right around Epochs, where it's like, Epochs probably should be a 9. I've just not played it enough, which makes me want to drop it down to a B because I've only played the prototype and I've only played it twice, maybe 3 times. So it's just like, it's hard to say for sure without the full game experience. But I'm going to leave that as the bottom of A tier, I think, is where I want that to go. And then the rest of these, I think I feel pretty good dropping in to a high B tier here as like an 8 overall, right? So I think that's the way I'm going to do this is I'm considering it a 10, which I do think all 3 of those games are 10. Rebel Princess. Rebel Princess might be a 10 too. Man, that's tough. I don't know. We're going to put it high A right now. All these are probably not 8s, right? If I'm looking at, what is that? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So I think Zubal dropped to F. Fumfgurken dropped. You know what? We're just going to drop all of D down to F. And then we're going to bring several things here down to D, because C is still a 7 out of 10, right? Like that's a good game. And I don't think all these are 7 out of 10 games. I think a lot of them are 6 out of 10 games. And a lot of people are going to be really mad at me for some of these decisions, but you know what? I'm sorry. So then I think that we've cleared up C a little bit. I do think that all of these are probably 7s. I'm going to drop Soulforge down. We're going to drop it to right there. Soulforge is a game I enjoyed. I just never see myself playing. I enjoyed my play of it. I was actually surprised how much I enjoyed it. But there's just no way I ever get into that game. It's got to be high D, with the caveat that, like, I think it's a good game. I'll probably never play that game ever again. Just by the nature of those types of games, you know, it's almost like Star Wars Unlimited, which Star Wars Unlimited gets I think it's a better game in general, but it gets a much bigger boost because, like, I'm probably going to play that game a lot because Doolin and Kenny love it. Soulforge is it's never a game I'll probably ever play again, which is, you know, maybe a shame because it is pretty good. But it's just, I'm kind of thinking my own personal tier list here, right? 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Yeah, I'm going to drop Knitting Circle a little bit. I like it. I don't like it as much as those. And I'm going to drop Dungeon Date to below Knitting Circle even. And I'm going to pull Flip 7. No, I'm cool with Flip 7 being right above Jaws. I like where that Message from the Stars actually want to drop a little bit. You know what? No, I don't. Spectral. I don't know. The C tier's hard. I think that's good though. I think that's good. And then I think we're gonna drop Embers of Memory and Cafe Barras. And Effortless can stay. Freelancers, I think we're gonna drop to C. It's just not my thing. I like it. I don't love it. Crisps, we're gonna drop to the bottom of B because it's barely a game. We're gonna pull Marvel Zombies up a little bit. You know, I'm just reevaluating, okay? I'm sorry, I'm just reevaluating. I do think there should be a whole nother tier for 5211, just because I really hated that game. I didn't really hate it, but I was expecting a lot more. Let's see. Are we good? 8. I'm looking at the 8s right now. The B tier is the hardest one for me to follow. I think Revolver Noir. I think that's a fine 8. Gnome Hollow, maybe. I could see Gnome Hollow and Nar and Effortless and Revolver Noir and Habitats maybe just being 7s out of 10s. You get the picture. This is about where it stands. I think I could move B tier around a little bit to make it not as broad of a category. Because when I look at it, like I do in my head, I'm like, wow, those are all 8 out of 10s. But then I look and I'm like, I like Harvest quite a lot more than I like Gnome Hollow, right? And so then it's like, do they even belong in the same tier? Which is why I guess I'm saying that this tier list is tiered in ranking, because otherwise it just doesn't make sense. I like Estates, Harvest, and Pax Pinning and Wild Garden Skyrise probably better than any of the ones below them. Like I could probably pull everything Last Light and below to C and be content. And maybe I'm going to do that. Then we're going to overload C tier, but 7 feels like a better spot for there to be more stuff than 8, because I'm looking at these, I'm like, those just aren't 8 out of 10 games. They're good, but they're not 8 I do think Unlimited's an 8 out of 10. I just don't love TCGs, so we're going to leave that there. We're going to leave Unlimited there, and it's going to like be the foundation of B tier, I think. And I think I'm kind of content with this now. Yeah. Bonanza I could see moving, but I like it. There's a couple. Bonanza, River Gold, Wombat that I could just see changing. Ancient Realm and Wombat feel like they should drop down a little bit. I think I'm pretty content with this. I'm going to move Energy Empire up to the top of B, though. And you know what? We're going to lock it in. There you go. I'll leave it on screen for you to check out, look at, screenshot, however you want to do it. You can look at the F tier if you want. I mean, they're really not bad games. I'm looking at the F tier and I'm like, those are fine games. They're just fine, right? Like, I would think Fiction would genuinely be good at 2, but I didn't play it at 2, and I did not think it worked at all at 4. Like, the two of us had fun, but then there were 2 other people that were just sitting there doing nothing. So that's a tough one. Five Cucumbers is not that bad. Fumgurken is not an F tier game. I am. Now that we've moved things down, I'm talking myself out of it. We got to leave the F tier alone. I think that is. I think that's better. Because these are not. I disliked 5211 a lot more than I disliked any of the other ones. So there you go. There you have it. 5211, Kitten, and then the rest of the tier list. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm running out of saliva in my mouth. If you did, leave a like and a comment. Let me know which of these is an egregiously misplaced game and which are you most excited about. And you can tell me your favorites. You know what? Just comment what you want to comment, but do comment. I'd really appreciate that. And if you check out the link in the description, you can check out Noble Knight Games, who sponsors the channel. And if you go follow that link, buy any games off Noble Knight Games, trade in any games, we get a little benefit for that. We get to buy more games ourselves, which allows us to make more content on those games. Maybe make my 2025 list even bigger. That's the hope, right? Thank you for watching. I hope 2025 treats you incredibly well. You can join us at the Discord, link in the description below. We're always there to chat, talk games and movies, and of course, listen to our podcast, Board Game Box Office, wherever podcasts are found. If you've missed my voice, which I'm about to miss my voice after talking for the past hour and a half, then that's where to find me. We're there every Monday, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for watching. I love you. I'll see you next time.